The psychology behind why we do what we do is not what you think. Most people think they know why they do what they do. They think it's personality, habit, or discipline, or willpower. But the truth is, most human behavior isn't logical, it's emotional. And if you have ever looked at your own life and thought, why do I keep doing this? Even when I know it hurts me. This video is going to explain it. Not in an emotional way, not in a judgmental way, but in a psychological way. Because what most people call bad decisions are often survival strategies. And once you see it that way, you stop hating yourself and you start understanding yourself. And understanding is where change starts. Because the psychology behind why you do what you do is not about what we want. It's about what we are trying to feel or what we are trying not to feel. A lot of what we do is not you chasing pleasure. It's you trying to regulate pain. And most people don't realize this because it doesn't look like pain. It looks like staying too long. It looks like giving too much. It looks like overthinking. It looks like scrolling for hours. It looks like avoiding people. It looks like going back to something that already broke you. And when you ask, why am I like this? The real question becomes, what is my nervous system trying to protect me from? Because psychology has said this for a long time. The brain is not designed for happiness. The brain is designed for survival. So your brain doesn't automatically choose what is best for you. It chooses what is the safest for you. Even if that safe choice is slowly ruining your life. This is why people stay in relationships that drain them. Because living feels like loss. And loss feels like danger. That's why people delay their dreams, because failure feels like humiliation. And humiliation feels like death of the ego. That's why people keep repeating the same cycle with different faces. Because the brain is loyal to what is familiar, not to what is healthy. And if you've ever wondered why peace feels uncomfortable, to me, it's not because something is wrong with you. It's because peace is unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe, especially to a nervous system that learned to live in tension. Some people grew up in environments where emotions were unpredictable, so calm felt like the calm before the storm. So now, when life becomes stable, their bodies start searching for the danger that isn't there. Not because they want drama, but because their nervous system was trained to scan for threats. And this is the part that people don't talk much about. Your patterns didn't come from nowhere. You learned them, you adapted them, you survived using them. So, yes, you might be an adult now, but your nervous system still remembers what it had to do to survive. And that's why the psychology behind your actions is rarely about the actions itself. It's about the emotional function behind it. Some people chase attention not because they are shallow, but because they were invisible for too long. Some people chase money not because they are greedy, but because they associate money with safety. Some people chase relationship even when they are unhealthy, not because they don't value themselves, but because loneliness triggers old abandonment wounds. So, staying with the wrong person feels safer than being alone with your own thoughts. Some people don't chase anything at all. They freeze, they delay, they numb themselves. And it looks like they are lazy, but it's usually fear. Because when the brain believes that trying will lead to pain, it shuts down. Not because you are weak, but because your mind is trying to protect you. And this is why discipline alone doesn't fix everything. Because you cannot out discipline a wound, and you cannot out hustle the nervous system. You cannot force change if your body still believes that change equals to danger. This is why people self sabotage right before success. They get close and suddenly they disappear, they delay, they pick a fight, they stop showing up, they ruin the opportunity. And everyone watching says, why would you do that? But psychologically, success comes with exposure. And exposure comes with judgment. And judgment triggers shame. So the brain says, let's fail on our own terms instead of risking being rejected at our highest point. That's the psychology of self sabotage. It's not stupidity, it's protection. And one of the deepest truths in psychology is this: people don't repeat patterns because they enjoy them, they repeat patterns because they recognize them. Familiar pain feels predictable. Unpredictable pain feels controllable. But unfamiliar peace feels like stepping into something you cannot yet trust. So a person who grew up with conditional love will often choose a partner who loves them conditionally. Because unconditional love feels suspicious. Unconditional love feels too good to be true. And when something feels too good to be true, the brain starts waiting for the punishment. So the person will test it. They will question it. They will create chaos in it. Because their nervous system doesn't know how to live without waiting for the other shoes to drop. And this connects to something psychology has studied for so many years: attachment theory. Attachment theory explains how our early bonding experiences shapes what we believe love is, not what we say love is, but what we emotionally accept as love. So, if love felt inconsistent, you may choose inconsistency. If love felt distant, you may normalize distance. If love felt like you had to earn it, you may overgive, overperform, overprove until you are exhausted. And this is why some people become people pleasers. It's not kindness, it's survival. They learned that being easy to love was the safest way to stay. So now, as an adult, they struggle to say no. They struggle to disappoint anyone. They struggle to ask for anything. Because deep down, they are still a child trying to be kept. And then they are the ones who shut down emotionally. They don't express much. They don't ask. They don't need. They don't depend. And people call them cold. But psychologically, they learned that needing people was dangerous, that expressing emotions wasn't safe, that vulnerability was punished. So they became self contained, not because they don't feel, but because they don't trust. And the world confuses emotional shutdown with emotional strength. But emotional numbness isn't a strength, it's a nervous system lockdown. And the real question is, what did you have to go through to become that way? Because the psychology behind why we do what we do always return to two things: fear and safety. Most behavior is an attempt to gain safety, even when it's destructive, even when it's unhealthy, even when it's costing you your peace. Because your mind cannot tolerate pain if it cannot predict it. But uncertainty feels like losing control. And control is the one thing humans will sacrifice almost everything for it. They will sacrifice love, they will sacrifice happiness, they will sacrifice growth just to feel in control. And if you are listening to this and thinking, okay, so how do I change? Here's the truth: you don't change by shaming yourself. You don't change by calling yourself broken. You don't change by forcing yourself. You change by understanding the function behind your patterns. Ask yourself, what does this behavior do for me? What does this protect me from? What emotion does it help me avoid? What fear is it managing? Because once you see the purpose, you stop attacking the symptoms and you start healing the cause. You stop saying, why am I like this? And you start saying, what happened to me? That made me feel this is necessary. And this is where real healing begins, not in perfection, not in pretending, but in awareness, in honesty, in compassion. Because your nervous system is not your enemy. Your mind is not trying to destroy you. Your patterns are not proof that you're weak. They are proof that at some point you had to become this way to survive something. But survival is not the same as living. And at some point, you have to graduate from survival and choose a new way. Even if it feels unfamiliar, even if it feels scary, even if it feels like you are learning yourself for the first time. Because healing is not the moment you become perfect. Healing is the moment you no longer abandon yourself for what feels familiar. And that is the psychology behind why you do what you do. Because it once kept us safe. But now we got to decide if we still want to live that way or we want to change. If this made you feel seen, you are not alone. And if you want more psychology like this, quiet, real, honest, subscribe. Because healing, it starts when we finally understand what we have been repeating. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on my next video.